Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I just put an FM player in there and had AM until 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, for real. I mean, it's an old truck.
That's cool. Yeah.
I mean, don't be dissing my 8-track. Don't. Okay, I respect that. But if your target is older vehicles, then you really have to take into consideration that most of them aren't going to have the Bluetooth radios built in. I might suggest looking for a partner that has plugins or adapters for those types of things that could somebody to partner with in that, so you guys don't have to reinvent the wheel. And then the next thing is, it's a free app. So how are you making money? I mean, ads? Are you adding people to death? Is it a monthly subscription? I mean, how you getting paid, brother?
We have investments that are going to let us go, and we'll figure the way we get paid later, but we're definitely not going the way down, getting ads on the app or anything else like that. User experience is top priority for me. We are going to add the monthly subscription, but not yet. We're testing a lot of things right now, and we'll come up with a subscription at the end of December, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that you want to work with lane departure warning, and my question is, are you going to tap into the car's actual lane departure warning cameras and sensors, or is the app actually going to have a lane departure warning that works through the camera of the actual phone?
The lane departure warning, good point that you brought up. First, if you have the lane departure warning system in your car, it will use them. If you don't, then we'll use the camera to try and make it as close as possible, to try and come. That's the thing, it's about mastering that camera. And we have engineers who are working day and night to make it happen.
Got it. And are you gonna have some warning for following too closely, or impending rear-ending, stuff like that?
Yes, we are going against everyone who has to have an extra device in your car for that to work, because exactly, it's just a camera. A camera is like having just one eye. You don't know the depth of perception. But the thing is, we believe that we have something that can master that just without having any external devices, without having anything more than your phone. You will be able to have a very close, not the most accurate results, but the closest results that you can with lane departure warning system. Costs about $1,000 or more.
Right. Okay. And one more thing, how will this relate to technology of self-driving cars that are coming they're coming, a lot of them now. Audi has one, and a few other manufacturers. Are you going to be able to tap into that, or do you want to completely freestanding from that stuff?
We're supposed to be the transition. We're supposed to help the transition into self-driving cars itself. We don't expect the cars to come in within the next 10 years, because drones were actually
They're already here.
We are there, I understand that, but drones were launched in '93, not until just a couple months ago, I think in April, or last month, they didn't let them deliver food or any kind of devices to anyone else. Amazon Prime just recently got the good go for testing somewhere very private and everything else like. So we expect the same to happen with driverless cars, but there is a market for at least the next 5 years at the very least. We don't expect them to be that common, and even if they were launched, I don't expect them to be there in everyone's doorstep.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm with Jan. I don't want to know. I think I know for myself, but I do have a 16-year-old who is learning to drive, and so my thoughts went there of the feedback for the kids that are learning. How is the data being presented? Is it just saying, oh, you accelerated fast here, you did that, or is it coming with recommendations of what you should be doing to be safer?
Well, essentially, the recommendations come along with the evaluation of your progress. You're able to see, what we're doing is we're trying to introduce almost like a driver scorecard, a report card on your driving abilities day in, day out. After every single commute, you get something that tells you exactly how you performed. It's going to tell you if you ended up drifting out of your lane, exactly where on the map you did that. But it's also taking all the information, creating a profile for you, and over time it'll show where you progress, where you're lacking, and from there you can make your own recommendations, your own adjustments to be able to become a better driver. So also on the end of looking at your daughter and looking at her progress, that's another thing we want to include. I mean, everything that we're doing is around social media and being able to share this information that you have if you want to. Being able to share with your family, your friends, your parents, whoever it is. So it would definitely fit into the parent side of things, wanting to see exactly how their children are doing.
I would be hesitant. We teach our kids to be defensive driver. You need to be good and, expect that others aren't. And then if my teen is going to look and say, well, everyone else my age is doing this and I'm a little bit better, I'm good, I feel like it's almost a little counterproductive.
Well, I mean, essentially what we're doing is we're holding you against all of the defensive driving. We're making sure that you're not following cars too closely, you're not getting too close to them, you're not doing any aggressive starts or stops. So I feel like that's directly in line with defensive driving.
It's the comparison part, I think, that gets me a little concerned.
No drag racing. Hi, I have a great idea. Took me a little while. Sorry, I have a thing about data, mine in particular. So amber alerts, silver alerts, weather warnings, that's where I could totally see that being beneficial for me, because if I'm not listening to the radio and I'm listening to Sirius or Spotify or whomever, right? And I have your app on my phone and it's doing what it's doing, and then hey, boom, we're looking for this car. And I've got my camera, and all of a sudden that car passes my car. I may not notice it, but my camera might, right? That would be an awesome tool. Or, hey, you know what, Jan, there's 5 drivers around you. They're not good drivers. Just heads up. Or you've got a motorcycle, like that kind of thing, like warning me about stuff that's coming up. That would be super useful.
Yeah, there's a lot of capabilities we see with this application. We've created the base model, exactly what we want to see in the initial release, but we have a lot of different avenues we can take, and that's all going to be established in beta testing.
I want to be very positive. I think you guys are doing a great job, and this has a gigantic potential. I'm just curious. Oh, and also, do you have a website yet?
We're working on it right now.
Get MANDA. How do you say it? MANDA?
Yeah.
GetManda.com is available. That'd be a good domain, because that's what a lot of apps are using. FYI. So just real quick, what are your backgrounds?
We both dropped out of aerospace engineering this semester, out of Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, and that's it.
Cool. Next question down front.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think anyone really understands the brain power on the stage, but I know what the long-term plan is that you are working on. Is this your now money now plan towards stepping into that? Because you did bring up the autonomous cars after this job.
Yeah, we are in talks with Aston Martin with that right now, and hopefully it goes well for us.
Yeah, because when she brought up her 16-year-old son, I've got one becoming 16 soon. And to me, I'm thinking, how many new drivers are coming out? Is there a way to be able to combat these extremely high and punitive type of premium structures that they have for the new driver? And that could be an interesting tool.
So, I know you guys have been doing a lot of work in automotive sensors for a while, so I think it's kind of interesting to see you guys have pivoted this way. What kind of research did you do as far as market validation and customer traction? So the one thing that I see the potential in for insurance companies wanting to know how their drivers are performing, but as far as an individual, I don't really know if I want a report card every day and pay you $5 a month for it.
We are going to California in 2 days to discuss those potentials with someone else. So you have to understand this idea has only been a month old, and that's it. So that's pretty fast moving for us. And yeah.
I've got one last question. So I'm seeing the application, but you just talked about all those heads and all that brain power that's on the stage, and you guys mentioned GoPro and things of that nature. So is your ultimate goal to improve cameras and then incorporate that into multiple applications, and this is the one you've chosen? And if so, what does that future look like for your company?
I'd like to get your question again right. Can you just
So
repeat?
just, are you creating technology and looking for applications to put it into? Or did you come up with the application idea and now you're backing the technology into it? Because I'm kind of want to see, this is a great product. What's your long-term trajectory for your company?
Okay, it's the latter that you described. We only expected to create this app so it's out there. Just because it's not out there is the reason why we just created it. Personally, I expect this to help us get into a very small company that is going to develop automotive technology for the future. It can be anything. It doesn't have to specifically be for the App Store. It can even be, we can design new kinds of brakes, new kinds of engines, new kinds of hybrid technologies. That's my entire goal of the company. It's not fixed on something. It's just changing what's not changed yet in the automotive industry. It's just all about that.
Had any other question?
Yeah, we have another question back here.
Okay, so I kind of walked in the middle, but I've been listening to the gist of what the thing was. But my question is this, and this might actually be more of a David and Mark question because it's a law thing, but I would imagine that data is all able to be subpoenaed by the other driver in an accident.
Exactly. I mean, that's one of the reasons we were trying to include the dash cam feature. In the event of a crash, if it is able to detect a crash, it would save that, that specific reading, that specific timestamp. Be able to use that in any sort of insurance cases, anything like that.
Okay, I was just curious. Yeah.
When are you guys going to integrate this into flying cars?
As soon as they come out, I guess.
I don't really have a question, but basically I might have a suggestion. There's a current platform, a software application that's more designed for fleet drivers on the commercial side, and they even have a safe team driver where it's a simulated experience on the computer system that judges you and gauges how you judge traffic, your danger lines. It also registers your starts and stops. And this allows fleet drivers to identify who's at risk within their fleet. But what's nice about your platform, and it might complement it, it can be mounted in their vehicle and be able to give them data analytics on a continuous basis based on that platform. So just keep that in mind as well.
And just so everybody knows, our second presenter is actually caught in traffic, so if you guys are okay taking more questions, we're welcome to it. Otherwise we're going to end early, so don't be shy, raise your hands if you have questions, and we'll continue this conversation.
On the, a couple questions. Do you have the patents or pending patents on this?
We have pending patents, yes. We have all the schematics drawn. As soon as we start doing development, that's when we're looking to up the patent.
And on the, have you looked at like a MEMS device up on the rearview mirror, strap on or Velcro onto the rearview mirror so you can see backwards and forwards, and to facilitate a Bluetooth to your, so you're not having to do a mount on the dashboard. You just have it in your, wherever. But it wouldn't be drawing your battery on your smart device.
Yes, essentially we're trying to make everything as, energy efficient as possible. Because obviously this is an application that's using a lot of the capabilities within the phone. It's using a lot of the hardware within the phone. It's using a lot of processing power. Everything we're doing is going to be streamed over the cloud so that we have the least amount of, usage within the phone's processing power as possible.
But putting it up on the rearview mirror, if you thought of doing the little device up, where it just Bluetooths with your, retrofitting a 1999 Ford F1 pickup with no AC, and it's like you pop that on there, and it's like, well, you can see what what's going on with the cattle out, or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. What we're trying to do, our entire premise around this is trying to limit the amount of hardware that you actually have to buy. So that's why we're trying to. Everybody has a smartphone. Everybody has everything in their pocket already. So we're trying to decrease the amount of upfront costs it's going to have on anybody that's trying to use this application.
Anyone else? Oh, we got enough. Let's keep this party going.
Who are you meeting with in California?
Y Combinator? Sorry, can't tell, not right now. What city? San Diego and San Francisco.
Just to keep it vague for you. All up and down the coast, you know.
Getmanda.com. That would be a good domain. Thank you.
Hi, me again. So I am clear you guys are wicked smart, right? And I love the fact you're just straight up about what you're creating. So in that same vein, where else do you see that this type of thought process would be applicable, right? Outside of automotive, because you know there's bikes, there's motorcycles, there's in schools, and I mean I can go on and on. Police officers, right? Like whatever that is. Where else do you guys see that this is applicable?
Oh, honestly, right now my mind is just focused on making this work, and after that thing, I think I'll let myself go free and just think about where it's gonna go. Because really, if I start thinking, it's just never gonna stop. So I restricted myself to just this project for now.
Yeah.
Anyone?
Get someone as your second to do what you just said, and you keep thinking and visualizing, because that's the only way you become a Steve Jobs, right?
I don't expect to become Steve Jobs. I just expect to be
But
a
you've got
Christian.
that amount of brain power up there. I think you should get a second to you foster those ideas down to those people that are really smart, and you keep visualizing. Because that's the kind of, Jan, that was the question I was asking, which is think bigger, because you've got a lot of great things going on. So just my suggestion.
I understand, thank you. I wanted to retire after this thing and just go into racing myself. So personally, I'm in a different track, totally.
Another question, Bill.
Oh yes, another question. Speaking of making it work, two things. So when you say camera, try to detect work as lane departure warning and approaching too closely. Since there are companies like Mobileye has been working with optimizing cameras for traffic detection for, I don't know, 10 years or something, are you thinking of like insourcing some of their software into your app to make the camera work, or developing from scratch? And the other thing I was wondering, are you also going to be able to use the selfie camera on the phone so you can see what's going on behind the car when you drive? So you're doing filming both ways at the same time?
Yeah. Well, essentially on that latter note, using that camera, I would say no, mainly because there are going to be obstructions in the way. If you have anything, like me, when I'm hauling stuff in the back of my truck, I can't see anything. So I don't think it's a very reliable way of detecting that. We're trying to make this as reliable as possible.
Yeah.
There's a lot more complex systems out there that would make this system a lot more accurate. But we're trying to give you the best of what you already have, the best of the smartphone capability.
So just forward.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And do you think it's, are you thinking about, insourcing something from somebody who did it? Or specifically thinking mobile?
We're trying to build upon the technologies that are already out there. We don't want to have to reinvent the wheel completely. So that's essentially what we're doing, is looking out there in the industry for things that would actually fit in this application, make it better. Any partnership is obviously mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
So that's essentially what we're trying to do, is expand into those areas.
Cool. All right, thanks.
Anyone else? All right, well, in the spirit of 1 million cups, we always have our closing question, which is, what is it that the 1 million cups community can do for you today?
Spread the word whenever we ask you to. Just give us your email, and then we'll give you an email to, just experience the app for first, and that's it. That's all that we can ask for.
All right, well, thank you.
So I think we're still waiting on our other presenter. They're stuck in traffic. Do we want to do a quick coffee break?
We're going to move them on to another time. It's just not enough time for them to present afterwards. So when they'll come, we'll try to save them some coffee. So real quick request from our standpoint, as you can tell, this is really a platform that is agnostic for all entrepreneurs. What I mean by that is that it doesn't matter what you do or what you make. This is a great platform for you to share it with the community and get great feedback and connections that are just transformative. We are in 4 areas in the state of Florida, so once you present in 1 million cups, you're able to go and travel. It's called the Passport Program. So you can take this and travel almost
anywhere that you can't think of, all the way from Alaska all the way to Puerto Rico. So it's a great place to go ahead and share. Some communities are tiny, 10, 12, 15 people show up. We have 50 to 75 on average. Fargo, North Dakota has over 350. So people say they have nothing else to do in that area, but it doesn't matter. It's still a great community to go and share with, especially in the winter. Free hot coffee, it's a great thing. So take this on the road, go share, go talk to people, bring your friends next time, tell them that they should apply and share their story. As you heard, this is an early stage. They have quite a bit of information to share. They've already gotten quite a bit through the process. So apply, and we will help you and provide you with the tools to actually provide us with with a presentation and the whole thing. We can't do this without our sponsors, so do me a favor, send some social media love to all the people that are helping us, both Joycaster, Rollins Entrepreneurship that allows us to be here, and of course, we can't have a 1 Million Cups event without Barney's and great coffee. So I'll just share with you something. When we first launched 1 Million Cups, we had a coffee sponsor who gave me ground coffee, which meant I had to get up at 6:30 and get there by 7 o'clock, start brewing the coffee, so it would be ready by the time we started. It was a transformative day for me when Barney said, we'll give you already brewed coffee. That for me was like a hallelujah moment. So send them some love. We want them to continue to do that. And of course, don't forget to also share with the other organizers and continue to spread the word. See you guys next week. Thank you.
Hey guys, so Emery Riddle, y'all dropped out, huh? My job, I solicit universities for intellectual property, smart devices, location-based services, and we've got right now stuff on
They got stuck in an accident. I was communicating